Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Live Vibe Coding with Will Melton. I am your host, Will Melton, and this is a production of Channel RVA. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to get into the build here pretty quickly, but before I begin, if you're joining me for the very first time, I am on a quest to build 52 apps this year, and that started out as just a way for me to set an arbitrary goal to practice this whole craft, but it has turned into a tremendous learning session for myself and I believe all those who are watching. So if you've been following me for a little while, you've seen me build 31 apps, 32 apps maybe if you count yesterday's build. I'll add that to the mix once we feel like it's a little bit further along and the team is able to use the software. But today I want to build a couple of new applications while we make progress on what we have previously built. So I'm going to be bouncing around to a few different things, but let me just fix my audio here because I know that this is a little bit loud. Here we go. This should be a little bit better for you. Excuse me. So um, before we get started in these builds, please check out studio.willmelton.com. You can subscribe over there. You can get some free credits if you are looking to build some things yourself. Sorry, I want to find my controls here so I can share the right screen. All right, so studio.willmelton.com, you can follow along on the journey. You can watch past sessions that I have done, and you can see all the different apps that I have built. And there's some good stuff in here. So take a minute to scope out all those previous builds. All the apps are here too, so we've got some to add today. Hopefully, we'll get pretty far along on two of these builds. And I want to go find my music. I must have closed it by accident. Okay. All right. And as always, channelrva.com is where you can go to plug into Richmond. We've built this application, this web platform that is a home for local creators in Richmond. And we are going to have more and more stuff over here as we go, more and more creators, more and more people who are making magic happen in the River City. We'd like to support those artists and creators by giving them a home where they can have a larger audience. And we've now created a space where creators, our content creators, have a dashboard where they can submit their content, they can call up their press badge on their mobile device, they can get their press credentials issued so that they can get into venues and events where they need to cover stories. So, independent media at its finest. All right, now I want to go into. I'm going to go into Claude for this, and I'm going to open up my vibe coding project. My vibe coding project has instructions on how to do the things that I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I don't like the voice microphone here. So what I'm going to do is use my voice memos, and I'm just going to record on my phone and grab a copy of the transcript. So bear with me, and we'll talk about the first application, which is going to be a coaching application. It's going to be an application for coaches to be able to schedule sessions with their clients. Their clients can schedule sessions with them. It's going to manage the relationship, the contract, um, the whole nine. So let me actually start talking to my phone instead of telling you guys without getting it recorded. I want to create a coaching application that allows a coach and their clients to effectively manage the relationship and to have successful outcomes. And some of the things that I want it to be able to do is manage the relationship, schedule and reschedule sessions. I want it to have a daily practice that can be logged in the system. I want it to have Place for goals. I want to have progress reports, assessments. And I don't know. I haven't studied professional coaching, so I don't know what the standards are for this industry for process and care. Those are all things that I will take the time to learn more about. For now, I do want to see if we can't surface some information on that front so that we can at least build a good starting application. And we'll use some coaches as beta testers of this application before we deploy it. So I don't have any current coaching clients, as I mentioned yesterday, but I do have a lot of folks that call on me for advice, and I haven't offered to do any coaching with anybody because I don't particularly have the time to do it, but also because I don't feel prepared. This opportunity is going to prepare me for the moment, and I may not take on that many coaching clients. I do kind of want to limit that to folks who I really see have potential. But in any event, we'll go ahead and get this transferred over here. So we're going to get a little education here on coaching standards and see what we can learn. I have had coaching relationships in the past, so I am familiar with it as a client. Are there any gaps in this plan? I see some of the competencies are not supported by the app. So the application is definitely intended to be a tool to administer coaching, including in the moment. I do want to bring in some of these recommended functions like post-session presence, energy, reflection field, maybe kind of like the coaching reflection log or supervision notes. This trust and safety piece, I like the emotional check-in at session start. Yeah, there's some good inclusions that we can bring into the surface of this application. I do want it to, according to your questions, I do want it to be something that clients can log into. I think that it's important to see data and progress in order to keep people motivated, and we can use the application to help them with nudges and reminders of certain things that the coach can. Hey, Michael, the coach can effectively either manually dispatch or create rules around dispatching. Doesn't have to be super manual, but progress is the goal. Let's go ahead and get the full work plan built. Okay, so we've gone through and given this a couple of, we've given it the motivation of what we're trying to build. As is my typical process, I'm going to copy that plan. I'm going to head over to Lovable. I'm going to paste that in here, and I'm going to let's see. Try to think of what I want to do here while that's building. I want to build the scaffolding for this work plan that I'm giving you. And what I will do once we have an interface established and the foundational understanding of what we're building, I will populate a product roadmap from another application, and we will actually take this plan and push it up into that plan. Hey, Jessica. If you're joining me for the first time this morning, I've been sitting here talking to AI, my lovable agent, and Claude, because we're building a product, a coaching product. So this is going to be for professional coaches and their clients. And this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time, but I don't have any clients and I wouldn't take them on because I don't have the framework that I would want to effectively make that happen. So I am using a few different things to get this plan started. So first of all, I have my live vibe coding project inside of Claude. That project has instructions to help me streamline these builds. It does a couple of things. It helps me write the descriptions for these videos preemptively for the events, and then it will also recognizes its responsibility to help me make work plans that are coherent for Lovable's agent. So what I do is I take my original motivation, I paste that into Lovable, I tell it how I'm going to roll this out, and I'll talk to you about that plan in just a minute. But I'm going to paste this plan in here, and I will hit send. And what's going to happen is I have a product roadmap that we maintain. Looks like that. This is one that's inside of my Carl and this Carl AIO. But in any event, I have this deployed in. Let me see. I must not have it open right now. But I have this deployed across all my apps, and this will help me manage the build much more quickly. I'll be able to maintain details across the build itself, and the roadmap will act as a sort of a guide for the agent as it builds, and it will be a source of truth for the documentation that we build for the people who are going to use the application. I've never really heard it ask for this before, but I kind of like it. I'm not sure that I'm crazy about any of these options, but Let's choose that for now. We'll go with the recommendation. All right. So basically, what happens now is the agent knows what it is supposed to be building, and it's asked me for clarity on some of the details. We might change some of that later. Once I see what I have built, I might choose some different colors. I think the ones I chose are maybe too dark, but I didn't like the other options, so I'll come back to it. In any event, this is going to take a little bit to build, and then I'll eventually put that roadmap in place so that we can get much faster at this single build. But while I wait for that to happen, I'm actually going to build a second app today because I'm ambitious and I don't want to do this every week for the rest of my life. So if I get closer to 52, I can stop doing this, get my weekends back. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are building a application for internships. I have historically had interns come to me out of interest for some of the things that we're doing, and we say, sure, come and work for us. And it works out. Those people stick around, they grow into new roles and learn a lot, and we get a lot out of them. So it's a really good relationship. But I don't have a really formal structure. They kind of come in as employees and they follow our typical um, valuation structure. But interns have foundational needs. They might not have any kind of professional experience working in a professional setting, so they might have some very basic time management understandings and how to leverage calendars and tasks and how to plan and how to do some basic things. Also, I feel like they need a more structured environment to work in. I also feel like I need more structure to be able to manage any one or multiple interns. And I do think that there's a potential to have multiple interns, but we have to make sure we define who their primary point of contact is. I don't know, their supervisor, if you will. There should be a application process, a scheduled opening for summertime internships. And we do internships that are year long too, so it's not limited to that. And let's see, I don't really know. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing from the structure of this internship. And so I want to explore that as a first step. So I'm going to go back to live vibe coding and I'm going to paste my prompt that I just spoke out to voice memos. And then you'll get to watch me do this again from the start. And yes, check out channelrva.com. I do have an event coming up here on June 5th, on Friday, if you're in the Richmond region. This is a subscriber exclusive. We've got Smashed RVA coming in to do a pop-up with us, and you'll eat free, drink free, and have a good time with some connected folks. I'm liking that sequence of events. That first Friday cadence is kind of the right pace for us, and it's also a growing, popular event. So, anyway, we've got news, we've got podcasts, we've got My RVA, where you can build your connection to the city. I know that this is more heavily focused on the city of Richmond. I do acknowledge that there is a much bigger world out there. There are the counties, there's um, all the way up to Ashland and all the way down to Petersburg. For now, we're doing what we can manage, and so we're staying close to the city. But we're happy to get some more restaurants in here from across the region so that we can uh, take you to some more places. We know there's a lot of great restaurants out there. But I'm going to talk to somebody. One of the things that makes Channel RVA work is an army of people who can come together to make things happen. So we've got some new contributing writers. We have some folks that are doing some video work. We have some podcasts that are coming up, and it's a lot of fun to do all this, but we can't do it alone. So we are intentional about making this a space for other creators to come and make things happen. So we are helping people build podcasts with our new studio. We can bring those into the Channel RVA home, and I don't know. There's a lot going on here, but this is one of the builds that I've had some of the most fun with, and I do talk about it a lot. But it is, I think, a good service to the community as well. All right, so let's see where we're at. I have some things. How many interns are you typically managing at once? I'll say 2 to 3. What types of work do interns typically do? They might do all of this stuff. Let's see. Paid internship. I'll just say different team members.
You're tuned into Channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
So, one of the things that we do for our employees is we provide them with their team's goal. So, what is the overarching goal that that team has that they are in service to? And then they have sort of their 3 key groupings of objectives, the things that you must be able to be proficient at in order to have the job. For an intern, that's going to be pretty low bar stuff like showing up on time, answering communications, being thorough, and showing their work and things like that. But we also have, what does what are your goals? Like, what are you working toward? What is your who are you striving to become good at? And then the third tier is who are, if you were to be excellent, truly excellent, what could you strive to be? What could you ultimately become within the organization as a leader or as a different role? That's something we do for employees. We should do it for interns as well. And then the only other thing I can tell you is I'm thinking about whether I build this into Spaceport or if I build it as a separate application and integrate it later. This could have more wide ranging utility beyond just my organization. Okay. the more that I am reading through this, the more I'm thinking to myself that we should probably build this to have utility for all applicants, not just interns. This application process is something that right now we're using a web form and it's coming through to us, and we don't really have any way to manage it and see what our pipeline looks like, who we've rejected. Like, we don't have a real candidate application tracking system. Not that we're that big, but it could change things. It could be more efficient for us. Since Spaceport is our HR kind of platform or culture hub, I think it makes sense to build this there. But let's build it as a separate app. We can link to it in Spaceport as an application for managers that have HR responsibilities. But I do want this to actually become something that we leverage what we already have. So I'm going to go into Asana and I'm going to export the project template that we have for employee reviews. Okay, so let me get that final output. I'm going to paste that here into Claude, and I'm going to add in the new, not the new, but the Asana template that we use to evaluate employees, and see what this says. All right. We must have one of these guys open somewhere over here. Growth Compass. This is it. Okay, so what I'll do now is I am going to reference the product roadmap. I'm going to go into the product roadmap, which is not published. It is just something that I've got inside of Lovable. And then I have the ability to come in here and get this deploy prompt and paste that in here. So we're going to go ahead and build the roadmap into this application. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Claude build that I have. We closed out of it already, but I'm going to go back to that build and I'm going to paste it into the agent again and have it complete the product roadmap with all the details that impact what it is that we're trying to build. Because what I don't want to have happen is some important detail is missed in the process of building one piece when we have all the information we need. It just all needs to reside inside of the application. Now I could do that as just a simple um, plan file that sits inside the documents folder. But and that might happen sometimes. I mean, Lovable might choose to do that to inform itself. But what it's really what I'm doing is since the context window of these agents are so short, and they're not short, they're actually really long inside Lovable, but they're short enough to where we can't necessarily do too many tasks at once. And so we break them up into multiple tasks. So we kind of put a clear definition around them. We work on them as a whole piece at one time, and then we move on to the next one. And so I'm able to accelerate my pace of development by just being very organized in the process. And so the roadmap helps me do that. In order for us in order for us to effectively build this application, what we need to do is to establish the product roadmap so that I can load up all of the tasks and execute sprints in an organized way. So this is going to help us. Please proceed. All right. I'm going to do one other thing. I have a daily reflection process that I follow, and I'm going to go get those questions.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
All right. So, sometimes I'll put in here CRUD. That's create, remove, update, and delete. Revise, I think not. I don't know actually what this stands for. Let's look that up. Create, read, update, and delete. Yes. A lot of times it'll do one of those things, but it won't let you edit things. And so I try to be a little bit more explicit. Um, um, okay. Let's go back to our internship program. So we're going to get this build plan, and then we'll build another app. All right, so obviously we've got some kind of bug here because we're just toggling back and forth on the dashboard. So we're going to get that fixed, verify that the product roadmap works. I'm going to add a new product roadmap item that we didn't have in the original plan. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the original plan loaded to the product roadmap. And then we're going to go ahead and build all that stuff. I can close that guy. Well, we're going to come back to that. We're going to do another one of these in just a minute. I'm going to go give my coffee a quick nuke, so stick around. I'll be right back.
Dein neuester, bester Chill-Out Place. I love Chill-Out Beats von I Love Music. Laid-back Electronic Lounge und Lo-Fi. Sunrise oder Sundowner.
Okay, so we are back, and let's see. Fix the redirect loop. Let's log in and see if that
Discover
worked.
I Love Music. An I Love Music channel tip. This is I Love Chill Hop.
So we're using the Google Auth UUID standard for employee identification. That helps us with the plan. We also need to use Google Auth for the logins so that everybody's automatically logged in. That's another thing that we do with all these applications is once they're clicked on inside a Spaceport, you can just know that you're going to be automatically logged in because your Google account is logged in. couple of revisions to that plan while we try to figure out what's going on over here. Anyhow, I'm gonna go until I'll go until a little bit after 11 today because I want to make sure that we can get some progress here on these builds. Close out of some of this stuff.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
Okay, well, let's see. The Asana import is going to happen from. Well, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to come in here and get my, as I always do, my original motivation. All right. So our internship application here is going to get built. We'll come and put this roadmap back into it once it's done. This is this might be this might be a dud of a build. Sometimes you get these where they don't get built right from the get-go, and it's like, do I keep building this thing or do I start over? Hey, how's it going? I'm working on a couple of things. So I'm working on an application for coaches to be able to coach their clients, and then I'm also working on an application for interns to be able to have a more formal internship program. Also, I was working over the last day on some other builds that I don't want to say I've abandoned them, but they're in kind of a state of just executing sprints on the roadmap and connecting different applications together. So it's kind of a boring build. Instead of doing that again today, I thought I would give you guys some new builds that would be fun. All right, so okay, I guess it wants me to go ahead with the roadmap, so I'll do that. I've never done it this way before, so we'll see how this plays out. Generally speaking, you kind of start these builds with the business case design standards that you want. I should have given this some design guidance as well as what I'm doing here, but I don't mind wiring that up later. I will eventually tie this in with Spaceport, so I'll probably give it a screenshot of Spaceport, or I will just reference the Spaceport application, which is inside of my Lovable account, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is going to design something to start with, so it'll probably be off, but we'll get that fixed up. So, I'm not building 100% of the things that I build with you guys right in front of you. I'm doing some of that offline. We've got security checks. We have some API connectivity, some things that are just easier for me to do if I'm not live. There's a lot that goes into these builds. You've got your user interface, which could be both the administrative side of managing the application, the sort of the higher level, the technical side of developing it. You've got the user side as well, so the different user stakeholders that are in the application that you have to consider, and that demands security. Then you have your database. So how's the database structured, and how does that information get called up, and where is it shared to? And then you have your functionality. So what are the actual code functions that are going to happen to be able to motivate and control all the things that you want to have controlled? And then sort of the last piece to it is, do you want to have AI do some piece for you? Is AI going to process or transform some information as a step in a workflow, in a sequence of steps, or is it going to do some big function, like is it going to write a draft for something based on a set of rules? So there's a lot that you can think about, and there's a lot that you can build. There are connectors in Lovable that allow you to do all kinds of things, all kinds of things. So if you wanted to do voice into your application, you have things like 11 Labs. You can see all of the things that we have enabled inside of our account that we can deploy, and all the things that we don't have deployed. So, there's a lot of, there's a lot, there's a lot, there's a lot. So, way more to talk about this stuff than I've got time for in these sessions, but it is hopefully by watching me build these things, you can learn what some of the functionality looks like, what some of the capabilities are. I do usually build some AI functionality into my applications because it's going to speed up workflows. It's going to be able to allow us to do things that don't require human inputs, and those things usually take very very little compute. I have some compute heavy applications like Carl Intelligence, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in that, you can go to exponent21.com and you can get a free AI SEO audit. So, how are you showing up across large language models? That's what this audit does. But it does a couple of things. It gives you a report on how your site health is, but it also tells you where you show up in the results compared to your competitors. So this is a cool tool that we just released. I haven't really done all the fanfare that goes along with this. We'll be announcing this much more widely here in the coming week because this is a big lead generator for us, but it's also a big value to the community. So this is one of those things that we've been working hard on, and there's just so many things to talk about. But go over to exponent21.com and check that out. And then what you end up with is Carl Intelligence is where you can see your prompts and you can see your results. I guess I haven't actually loaded any prompts up here. Which one is this? This is my personal speaker website. I do have some prompts down here. So we'll see the results on that soon. But basically, that's how that is designed to work. 7 days. So 3 days and no prompt runs. So I'll have to check on that. I'll have to check these failures. All right. Got some work to do. But let's see where we're at with these builds because this is really what we're focused on today. So let's see if I can finally log into this application. When I try to log in, I hit the sign in button. The button doesn't look like it depresses. And then I'm just taken back to the login screen within a blank email and a blank password box. I don't typically have builds where the very first out of the gate thing that we have is a problem logging in. I don't think that we should have any login problems at this stage of the game. It really should be pretty straightforward. I set up an account earlier. I should have an account inside the system. I can't even log in at this point. If we need to throw away the entire authentication system and reintroduce it, I'm willing to do that because otherwise I'm going to throw away the entire application and start from scratch. I need this next fix to be a 100% complete resolution to this problem. I will not tolerate another attempt to log in with a failure.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
All right. Hey, how's it going? No, I'm using, I mean, this AI is Lovable's agent, so that uses Claude, but I can connect to any AI that I want to. So one of the things that I was working on yesterday was where's this thing at? Hermes agent. This isn't technically a Hermes build because it's a Lovable build, but it kind of follows the Hermes agent functionality standard. So this is going to be my agent when I build it, but it can tap into Claude. I can tap into OpenAI, whatever ones I want. If I want to set up a OpenClaw agent in my basement, I can do that. I do have some extra computers laying around that I could set those up. I'm just a tinkerer, so I like to build things that I find to be blockers in my life. So, like where's the friction reside that's going to stop me from doing something that I want to do? But the thing in between is just too challenging, takes too much time. I've got too many interests. I'm not willing to put my time there, and so I just build things. built an application to help me finish my book. Still haven't finished my book. I finished the application. So it's a psychology problem that I can't solve with software. But one of these days, I'm going to peel away and go to the mountains, get the views, and take some time to get it wrapped up. I've got 80,000 words written. But right now, I am working on some new things to add to my. If you're not tuned in for the first time, here's my studio site, so you can see all the things that I've built so far. 31 applications so far in 2026. I've actually built more than 36 apps, but for the sake of what we've built inside of Lovable, that's kind of the full picture going back to the 2025. Yeah, writing a book. Been working for 20 years, 21 years as an entrepreneur, and I am determined to help folks who were as ambitious as I was at that age, or even older, to know that it is safe to proceed, to go forward, to try things, to take risks. Things in life tend to work out, and fear is certainly a blocker. But it doesn't talk as much about fears. It does about authentic confidence and how to develop that. And it's developed through moving forward and not stopping because you don't know. And I think one of the things that I demonstrate with these builds is there's a lot that I don't know. I don't know how to organize a proper internship, even though I've employed people for 21 years and know how to employ people. Interns are a little different, and there's extra care that you have to pay for these folks. And you want to make sure that you're doing something right. So I take the extra time to figure out what I don't know, and then I create tools to be able to enable me to do it well every time. And AI has been a really wonderful gift for my very busy brain because I can do a lot of the things that I think about that I want to do, that I just don't have the resources to pull off. I don't have the staff to do it. I don't have the time to do it. Um, and I have to get the help. So I pay for this through credit system inside of Lovable. You can actually build for free. I have a inside the description for this video is a link. You can get some free credits, but I probably spend, let's see, $920 per month right now, I believe is right. And in any event, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, our company generates enough revenue to pay for that, and we generate revenue from the credits that we're using. And that's really, I think, one of the things that's amazing about AI is it's teaching us that value creation is really just that. It's about creating something uh, while not expending so much on the inputs. Yeah, I think that's one perspective to say that companies that have less and less staff, certainly startups can do more with less staff, and I think that that's warranted. They should pursue that, but I also think that a successful business will eventually demand staff. You can deploy as many agents as you want, um, but there are just too many edge cases in the world of life, and it is really hard to allow AI to just manage everything for you. So now we're working on some of the tools that can automate the flow of information from a meeting to a task list or to a build plan. But I'm having some, it's still working through that fix. Oh, wait, hey, here we go. Look at that. And then I had crud. I had a whole thing that I was trying to get into the roadmap, but I copied and pasted from someplace else. So I'm going to do that again and just say, okay, I need to add a new product roadmap item that updates our daily reflections. I want to have these questions asked as a default, but I also want coaches and clients to be able to add and edit the questions that are there and delete questions if they want to. So that's going to be just something we put in the roadmap for now. Okay. Um, so taking a little bit of time to get where I want to be on this, but I have I got to go back to Claude and get the work plan for this build so that we can get it into the product roadmap. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give this an instruction. Here are the roadmap items that we need to populate into the roadmap. I want to make sure that we put as much detail in this as possible to make sure that dependencies are flagged and that different development requirements are included. We'll eventually use this to build the product. We'll use it to create the documentation. But one thing that is missing, I think, from this plan is the proper instructions to ensure that everything that gets built has a proper placement inside the UI user interface. So let's make sure that we don't miss any of those details. Everything should be built as a function, needs to be accessible in the application itself. All right, so that's gonna what we're gonna do now is let the agent build the roadmap, and that's based on this plan that Claude made for us, that we instructed it to make, that we told it why we wanted to do this, and so this leveraging the agent is the way that we can streamline things. But what we really want to do is just get all the details in there.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators.
So I'm
Subscribe
going to go
at
look up the term for that
channelrva.com.
because I always forget. It's not an IDE. All right, let's see what this is called. GPT engineer. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I could technically build what Lovable is. You can build anything that you've seen or can see, but companies like Lovable are building this stuff. Uh, they have huge engineering teams that are working with AI to be able to make all this stuff better. But they've taken the time to make it great. But there's other stuff. There's other software that's just too expensive in my world, and I don't want to pay for it. So I'm going to create software that I can either extend to folks as a service, like Carl Intelligence, or all right. Let's see. I think we have a build plan here for this one. Did I start that already? There is absolutely nothing here. There's nothing built. There's no UI. There's no way for me to do anything. The login screen is white. The integrations screen is just a circle. Docs is nothing. It's just this whole application is non-functional. Um, I have not sold any apps. However, these builds do motivate a number of requests for me to build apps for clients, and so um, let's see, for client-facing projects, I've built one, full-blown in production application that fully uses AI to get there, and then I've got two that are in flight right now, so we're working on a couple more. I do have, if you check out studio.willmelton.com, I've got an app that I built. I've got a couple of different food ones, but one of them is this one called Simmer Circle, which is a sauce sharing application, so that you can. Really, sauces are like one of the hardest things. They take the most time to make. So the idea is you get a group of people together, and everybody makes one sauce. They split it into 6 jars, and you've got a week of sauces that everybody gets to enjoy. Interestingly enough, sauce sits in the fridge. It actually tastes better over time. So this whole thing can really provide for better meals. And then, like it's less plastic, and you don't have to get those meal kits delivered. You can go get fresher ingredients from the store with less plastic. And so that's what that's for. I built another one that was for meal prep and personal chef assistance. So the idea was that if you're too busy, which I am often too busy, um, you can essentially hire a personal chef to do everything from writing your meals to actually shopping for you to prepping to actually cooking. And so this is live. You can go check this out. I thought that I had this published on a domain, but I guess I didn't actually buy it. But in any event, yeah. So let's see if I can sign into this project. So all this stuff. I mean, there's so much that goes into something like this because you have to have the dietary restrictions. You've got the chef dashboard, you've got the client dashboard, you've got the payment dashboard, you get all this stuff. So there's this one's a big build. I didn't keep going with it, but what we're going to do is I have some other businesses that are all kind of sitting under one umbrella, and I'm going to create a holding company and move some of these applications over to that holding company, raise some capital, and actually put people to work getting these things built up and sold. So there's a whole motivation behind how we take this next step. But business is a roller coaster, so there's always things that get in the way. Okay, so we now have a product roadmap established here. This is all the things that we need to do to build the coaching application. So I'm going to auto assemble a sprint. Let me just check something. I just used the auto assemble button, and it only populated one item to the sprint queue. I don't know what the rules are set to, but that should be able to allow for 8 to 10 things to be loaded to it. Bumpy starts on both of these projects today, so you can notice that. This happened to me a week ago, or no, was it last week? I think so. Yeah, when I was doing the Hermes build, I had to start over. Actually, I have two of these because the first one failed so badly. I spent most of my time in the live session trying to fix it, and I eventually said, you know what? I bet you anything I could start over and finish it faster than this one fixes itself. And sure enough, that's what we did. So a good lesson in all of this is if you get stuck and you can't get unstuck quickly, it does not make sense to keep building. You got to start over and get a fresh slate. It is a waste of compute, and I do wish that Lovable would address whatever the cause of the issue is, whatever creates those early failures. It shouldn't happen. I don't like the fact that I'm burning compute to get to a state of incompletion, but it is part of this whole new world that we live in. So. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. Sometimes I do this and nobody's there, and sometimes I get a whole slew of questions. So I'll close out of some of these things. And I'd like to get to the place where this is working. Refresh and see if I can't see anything happening. There we go. There's almost nothing here yet, so this is fine. There we go. Something's happening. Well, that one got unstuck, which is good. All right, let's see what we get here with the auto assemble sprint queue. So I built this roadmap early on in my journey here so that I could actually accelerate the pace of building. So I do the sprint queue auto assemble. What this is going to do is it's going to order these things from the order of priority, and it's also going to look at them from a order of dependency. So if one of these tasks needs another task in order to be successful, it's going to put it in the right order. And then this execute sprint button is what I click to be able to copy the instructions that you just saw into. Okay, something's. I need you to go back and look at the product roadmap instructions because the execute sprint is not effectively doing its job. It's not putting the instructions in there to not skip. I don't think that the auto assemble sprint queue is actually handling dependencies properly based on what you have just told me here. So I really need to fix the product roadmap functionality first. So, it's a little bit kind of like a grind a little bit in the beginning to get to this place. And obviously my product roadmap is not functioning the way I want it to, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to have that solved here just in a moment. And you'll see just how quickly we're going to get to actually building out these 40 tasks to get this Coach OS beta working. All right, so this is fine. I think what I need to do is see if I can log in with Google. Okay, so we have, I think I am probably an admin already, but let me come and get this work plan. Actually, yeah, I'll get this work plan for, no, not Coach. I need the Orbit work plan. So copy that, get in here. I'm gonna, please add this work plan to the product roadmap with appropriate details so that we can effectively execute these sprints and build these tasks out and have a successful build. Please be sure to add any details that would demand UI integration for any of these various functions. Oftentimes those things are left out. Gross. I don't know why I did that. Okay, that was temporary. Good. I got some questions in here. Wrong one. I was pretty sure I told you to store in your memory that we always use resend as our email sender. Yes, resume storage needs to be stored inside of the Supabase storage bucket. And I thought I told you that I was going to give you employee information from QuickBooks that we'll import later. And I'm pretty sure that I did give you the supervisor list because that's spelled out. I need this plan to be updated. Okay, so I can close that because we've got that done. All right. And this plan, I can't run this yet because I need to get the plan. Let me go get the first bit. Please add the following work plan to the product roadmap. I need to make sure that any instructions around UI wiring is included. Sometimes that gets left out, and I don't want to leave any details out as we go through this build. I want to be able to test things pretty quickly after we get it done. So add any details that you need to the product roadmap to ensure that this all happens as expected. Make sure that you do any dependency planning, priority planning, all based on an efficient build. We want to have a very successful, efficient build on this. Okay. So build that product roadmap. Now we can go to the roadmap. We can clean all these out. Auto assemble the sprint. Execute the sprint. Let me read this, make sure you're right. Okay, good. All the rules that we need in there. I'm going to go for about 10 more minutes here because I feel like we're making some pretty good progress on both of these apps, and I want to show you guys what a more finished build looks like. I do think we'll get there. I feel like this instruction still isn't.
Ein Hit, ein Jahr. Aber welches? Schalt jetzt zum neuen Hit-Quiz-Channel und zock direkt die nächste Runde. Let's quiz! This is I Love Chill Hop.
These instructions are incorrect. I need you to refer back to the original project to make sure you know what you're supposed to do here. Our instructions are to execute these tasks immediately without intervention, no stopping between tasks. We've provided all the information that we need to provide, and I am this whole like give a report before you start. I don't know where that came from. That was never in the instructions. This dashboard is really kind of clunky because the roadmap, the sidebar covers up the contents of the view on a narrower screen. So I need you to fix this. We need to be able to close the roadmap manager. It cannot cover up the contents of the roadmap, that sidebar.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at channelrva.com.
All right. Here we go. So where is my... Hmm. When adding things to the product roadmap, they should never be added to backlog. They should always be added to planned because it always takes a second step to put them in planned. We do not want them backlogged because I can't auto-assemble the sprint queue. All right. I don't know why this thing got this weird line. My dark mode button isn't working. Come on, man. Okay. It's just really slow. I'm afraid that the basic functions of the product roadmap don't seem to work as expected. Like the auto-assembler does not work. Did you not build the deployment that we instructed you to build based on the source? The product roadmap is one of the harder things to get deployed because there's so many there's so much code that goes into making that work. So I'll refresh the screen here to show you. I think that this is actually further along in the build than is indicated here. It's building a lot of things all at once, and I can tell that. But All right. Let's see. Getting close to, I think, an output here, but let's take a look where we're at. The sessions. Let's see if these ones. I'm reading the execute sprint instructions, and it is saying to make the tasks complete when they're complete, but the instructions are explicitly to put them in review. Did we not properly wire up the SDK that we provided to make sure that whenever things go to in review, they get the checklist and everything else? I'm starting to doubt whether or not my deployment code is proper. All right. Okay, that was a lot. Let's see. Those are all set to in review. Let me go just check and see if they have a checklist. They do not have a checklist. So the product roadmap has some explicit instructions to be able to add a checklist to check for dependencies and to add a checklist for functional testing. I do not believe that we deployed all of the code that I instructed you to deploy for the product roadmap. Can you check? I promise you these builds are faster once the product roadmap works effectively. Somebody smarter than me out there can probably tell me what I'm doing wrong here. Maybe I just need to copy the code for the roadmap over and just have a little bit of a manual process here. But in any event, this app will be something that gets built and finished today. I'll add it to my application library as a finished application. I'm going to make that number in my studio website. That's going to push up to, let's see, 34, because we will add in Carl Optimize. We will add in the Coach OS, and we will add in the Intern Growth Hub. You need to go and backfill the task that we just completed. I should not see any in-review tasks in my sprint queue. They are prohibited from being there. I'm telling you, we didn't fully function. We did not deploy this product roadmap the way that I instructed you to. It should work exactly the same as it does on the source code. we're piecing this together with band-aids because you didn't do what I told you to do. Okay, we'll let that one build.
You're tuned into channel RVA, the media hub for independent creators. Subscribe at
All right.
channelrva.com.
Well, I'm making some progress here. I'm happy with that progress now that we've got the roadmap wired up in both of these applications. They're kind of trucking along in their respective manner. A couple of annoying things with this. It keeps loading the login screen when I'm logged in. It takes a second to get the dashboard loaded. Every time it reloads back on the dashboard page instead of reloading the page that I had open. So there's a couple of things that I'll be able to fix about this to make it a little bit more smooth to operate around. But I won't bore you guys with that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today and go get some lunch. But, you can kind of see what my process looks like here, and I will give you guys an update on how these things go in our session next week. So join me next Saturday, which will then be the let's see, 30th of May. 1 o'clock will go live, and we'll do it again on the 31st at 10 a.m. So just the same as this weekend. You'll be able to see me wrap these things up. I'll have them done to a point where we can actually demo what they look like and kind of click around the different interfaces. Might do a little bit more of a show and tell as opposed to a full build session because I have a lot on the burners. We got to get them done. So that's that. I'm going to wrap up here today. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe at studio.willmelton.com and channelrva.com so that you can keep along this journey. If you're in the Richmond market, this is definitely the place to be. And if you're just out there in the world on Twitch, studio.willmelton.com is the best place to follow me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I enjoyed the conversation, and I'll talk to you